Dibia, I need your help. I need your help. My son's wife, she's too proud, too beautiful. She has stolen my son from me.
What do you want me to do, Mama?
Let me tell you the story. Mama Ego sat under the udara tree in her compound, watching her daughter-in-law Kiera sweep the yard. Everything about the young woman annoyed her. The way she carried herself, the way she smiled. Even the way she tied her wrapper showed too much confidence. "Look at her," Mama Ego muttered to her friend, Mama Dara, who had come to visit. "Walking like she owns the whole village. Just because she went to secondary school, she thinks she's better than us." Mama Dara glanced at Kira, who was humming softly as she swept. "But Mama Ego, the girl is respectful, oh? She greets you properly every morning. She cooks, she cleans." "That one is Shakara," Mama Ego cut her off. "All pretending. You should see how my Amadi looks at her, like she's the only woman in the world. He doesn't even listen to me anymore." It was true that Amadi adored his wife. He had married Kiera 2 years ago, and since then, Mama Ego felt she had lost her son. Before Kiera, Amadi consulted his mother about everything. Now, he discussed everything with his wife first. "Good afternoon, Mama," Kiera called out, approaching with a bowl of water. "I brought you fresh water from the stream." "Just put it down," Mama Ego said coldly, not even looking at her. Kiera's smile faltered, but she placed the bowl carefully and returned to her sweeping. Mama Dara shook her head. After Kiera went inside, Mama Dara leaned closer. "Mama Ego, that girl has done nothing wrong to you. Why do you hate her so much?" "You won't understand," Mama Ego said bitterly. "She has bewitched my son. The way he follows her around like a puppy, it's not natural." The truth was simpler and sadder. Mama Ego had always imagined she would choose her son's wife. She had picked 3 girls from the village, girls she knew she could control. But Amadi had met Kiera at the market in town and fallen in love. He had brought her home and announced his choice. Mama Ego had never forgiven either of them. That evening, as Mama Ego watched Amadi and Kiera laughing together while preparing the evening meal, something dark settled in her heart. The way her son looked at his wife with such love, it should have made her happy. Instead, it made her furious. "I will teach her a lesson," Mama Ego whispered to herself as she walked to her room. "Let her know what it means to suffer. Let her cry. Let her feel pain." She sat on her bed in the darkness, thinking, what could she do to humble this proud girl? What would make her son see that his mother still mattered? Then it came to her, the thing every woman feared most, childlessness. A slow smile spread across Mama Ego's face. "Yes," she said softly, "if she cannot give him children, he will send her away. He will finally see that I was right all along." The next morning, while everyone else was still asleep, Mama Ego wrapped her best George wrapper around her waist and slipped out of the compound. She had a journey to make. The journey to Dibia Okonkwo's shrine took Mama Ego 2 hours by foot. She had to leave her village and walk through the forest path to the neighbouring village of Umuoba. Nobody could see her. Nobody could know. When she finally arrived at the shrine, the smell of incense and something darker filled her nostrils. Cowrie shells hung from the doorway. Animal skulls lined the entrance. Inside, the walls were covered with strange drawings and dried herbs. "Mama Ego," Dibia Okonkwo said without turning around. He was a thin man with grey dreadlocks and eyes that seemed to see through people. "I knew you would come." Mama Ego shivered. "How did you—" "The spirits told me," he said simply, finally facing her. "A woman with a troubled heart, a woman who wants to destroy another woman's happiness. Sit down." Mama Ego sat on the small wooden stool, her hands trembling. "Dibia, I need your help. My son's wife, she has bewitched him. She's too proud. I want to teach her a lesson." "What kind of lesson?" His voice was calm, neither judging nor encouraging. "I want her to be barren," Mama Ego said quickly, the words rushing out. "I want her to suffer childlessness. Let her cry every month when her mates are carrying children. Let my son see that she's useless." Dibia Okonkwo was silent for a long moment. Then he stood and moved to a wooden shelf covered with clay pots and bottles. He mixed things dark powder from one pot, dried leaves from another, something that looked like ash. "This powder," he said, holding up a small leather pouch, "is very powerful, very dangerous. If a woman eats it, she will never conceive. Her womb will be closed forever." Mama Ego reached for it eagerly, but he pulled it back. "Listen carefully," he warned. "You must put this in her food when you are alone. Only a pinch, no more. And Mama Ego, this kind of medicine, it will follow you. What you do to others will come back to you threefold." Inklu, "I don't care," Mama Ego said. "Just give it to me." He handed her the pouch. 3,000 naira and one wrapper. Mama Ego removed the wrapper she had worn specifically for this her best George. She handed it over along with the money she had saved for months. Her hands closed around the small leather pouch. Inside, she could feel the powder, her revenge. "Remember my warning?" Dibia Okonkwo called as she left. "Witchcraft is like a fire. It burns the one who lights it first." But Mama Ego wasn't listening. She was already planning. Tonight. She would do it tonight. The journey back felt shorter. Her heart beat with excitement and something darker, a feeling she didn't want to name. Wickedness. When she reached her compound, she went straight to her room and hid the pouch under her mattress. She could hear Kiera in the kitchen, singing as she prepared lunch. That voice that always sounded so happy would soon be crying. "Tonight," Mama Ego whispered, touching the hidden pouch. "Tonight, everything changes." Evening came with the usual sounds of the village settling down. Children's laughter faded as mothers called them inside. Chickens returned to their coops. The sun painted the sky orange and purple. Mama Ego stood in her kitchen, her heart pounding. This was it. The moment she had been planning all day. She had prepared 2 pots of egusi soup. One pot, the normal one, sat on the left side of the fire. The other pot, the one on the right, was special. She had watched Kiera go to fetch water from the stream. She had exactly 15 minutes. With shaking hands, Mama Ego pulled out the leather pouch. She opened it and looked at the black powder inside. "Just a pinch," the Dibia had said. She took a generous pinch and dropped it into the soup on the right. The powder dissolved instantly, leaving no trace. "Perfect," she whispered, stirring the poisoned soup. It looked exactly like the other one, smelled the same too. "This one is for that proud girl. Let her eat it and no suffering." She covered the poisoned pot carefully with a lid and placed it slightly apart from the other one. In her mind, she had already planned it. When Kiera returned, she would serve the girl from this pot, only this pot. Mama Ego was just washing her hands when she heard footsteps. "Mama, Mama!" It was Amadi. He burst into the kitchen, his farming clothes covered in red dust, sweat running down his face. "Amadi, you're back early." "Mama, I'm dying of hunger," he said, heading straight for the pots. "We worked extra hard today. The sun was punishing us. I need to eat something before I collapse." "Wait, let me serve you." Mama Ego started to move. But Amadi was already lifting the lid off the pot, the covered pot, the poisoned pot. "Amadi!" "No, not that pot." Mama Ego's scream was so loud that even the neighbors looked up. She rushed toward her son, arms outstretched, but he had already scooped a large serving into his bowl. Ma, Amadi laughed, thinking she was being stingy. You want to hide the good soup for yourself? This one is smelling so nice. I must eat it. Please, my son, use the other pot. This one is Mama Ego couldn't finish. How could she explain? But Amadi was already eating. Spoon after spoon went into his mouth. He was so hungry that he ate fast, the soup dripping down his chin. Kai, this soup is sweet-o, he exclaimed between mouthfuls. Mama, you really tried today. What did you add? It tastes different, better. Each word was a knife in Mama Ego's heart. She stood frozen, watching her son devour the entire bowl. The poison meant for his wife. The juju meant to make Kiera barren, going down her son's throat. Amadi, please, she tried one more time, but he was scraping the bottom of the bowl. Finished, he announced happily, rubbing his belly. Mama, thank you, oh. That soup has given me strength. I feel like I can go back to the farm right now. Then he left the kitchen, whistling. Mama Ego stood there, the empty bowl in her trembling hands. The world seemed to spin around her. What had she done? What had she done? She looked at the pot, the poisoned pot, that was now almost empty. Her son had eaten everything. Her legs gave way. She collapsed right there in the kitchen, the bowl clattering to the ground. 3 months passed. Mama Ego watched Kiera like a hawk, waiting for signs. Waiting for her monthly flow to come and go with no pregnancy. But something else was happening instead. Something she hadn't expected. Amadi had changed. It started subtly. He would come home from the farm earlier than usual, looking tired. He stopped laughing as much. And when Kiera would touch his arm or smile at him in that way wives smile at their husbands, he would look away. 6 months passed. The village women started gathering under the udara tree, their voices carrying on the wind. Have you noticed? Mama Ifeoma whispered loud enough for everyone to hear. Kiera's stomach is still flat. How long have they been married now? 3 years? Maybe she's barren, another woman suggested. Some women are like that. Beautiful outside, but empty inside. Mama Ego heard everything. But she couldn't feel the satisfaction she had expected, because she saw her son growing quieter every day. She saw him wake up in the middle of the night and sit outside, his head in his hands. One evening, when Kiera had gone to visit her mother, Amadi came to Mama Ego's room. Mama, he said softly, I need to tell you something, but you must promise not to tell Kiera. Mama Ego's heart stopped. What is it, my son? I think something is wrong with me, he said, unable to meet her eyes. As a man. I went to see the herbalist in town. What did he say? Mama Ego's voice came out as a whisper. He said, something is blocking my manhood. He asked if anyone had given me something to eat or drink, some kind of juju. Amadi looked up, his eyes desperate. Mama, do you know anything about this? The words stuck in Mama Ego's throat. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. I only eat your food and Kiera's food, Amadi continued. And Kiera would never harm me. So I thought maybe someone at the farm, or maybe I offended someone in the village. I don't know, my son, Mama Ego managed to say. 10 months after that terrible evening, Kiera suggested they go to the hospital in town, a proper hospital with doctors and machines. The results came back 2 weeks later. Mama Ego was sitting under the udara tree when she heard the wailing Amadi's voice, broken and raw. She ran to their room and found him on the floor, a piece of paper in his hands. Kiera knelt beside him, crying too. What happened? Mama Ego asked, though her heart already knew. Kiera looked up, tears streaming down her face. The doctor says Amadi cannot father children. He's infertile. The word hit Mama Ego like a thunderbolt. The village exploded with gossip within days. Everyone had an opinion, everyone had advice. "I told you," Mama Ifeoma declared at the market. "It's not always the woman. Sometimes the man is firing blank." "Poor Kiera," another woman said. "She was innocent all along, and we were blaming her." Mama Ego heard it all. Every word, every whisper, every judgment, and each one was a knife twisting in her gut. At night, alone in her room, she would cry silently. "What have I done? What have I done to my own son?" 2 years had passed since the diagnosis, 2 years of watching her son's pain, 2 years of guilt eating Mama Ego alive from the inside. The turning point came on a Sunday afternoon. Kiera and Amadi sat in the parlour, talking quietly. Mama Ego was in the kitchen, but she could hear every word. "Amadi," Kiera said gently, "I've been thinking. Children are blessings from God, yes, but they come in different ways. What do you mean?" Amadi's voice was heavy with sadness. "The orphanage in town. I went there last week." Kiera paused. "There are so many children there who need parents. Beautiful children. Smart children. Children who need love. I haven't." Silence. "You want us to adopt?" Amadi asked finally. "I want us to be parents," Kiera said. "Does it matter if the child didn't come from my womb? We will love that child, raise that child. That child will be ours." Mama Ego heard her son crying. Then she heard him say, "Okay, let's do it." 3 months later, they brought home a baby girl, 6 months old, with big brown eyes and the sweetest smile. They named her Maya God Follows Me. The village celebrated. Women brought gifts. There was music and dancing. Everyone agreed that Kiera was a good woman, accepting to raise another woman's child. But Mama Ego could not celebrate. Every time she held baby Maya, guilt choked her. This beautiful child was not her real grandchild. Her real grandchild would never exist because of what she had done. She watched Amadi play with Maya, making funny faces to make the baby laugh. She watched him carry the little girl on his shoulders, singing to her. And she knew this should have been his biological daughter, his own blood. "Mama, come and see," Amadi called one afternoon. "Maya," said her first word. She said, "Dada." Mama Ego came and smiled and clapped, but inside she was dying. She couldn't eat. Food tasted like ash in her mouth. She couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw that evening the poisoned pot, her son eating the soup meant for his wife. She lost weight. Her clothes hung loose on her frame. Her eyes became hollow. "Mama, are you okay?" Kiera asked with genuine concern one morning. "You're not eating well. Should we take you to the hospital?" The kindness in Kiera's voice was the worst torture. This girl she had tried to destroy was worried about her health. "I'm fine," Mama Ego lied. "Just old age." But she wasn't fine. She was being consumed from within. The guilt was a living thing inside her chest, growing bigger every day. At night, she would kneel by her bed and pray. "Chineke, God of our ancestors, forgive me. I have sinned against my own blood. I have destroyed my son's future with my own hands." But even prayer brought no peace. She thought about confessing. Every single day, the words would rise to her throat. "Amadi, I need to tell you something." But shame would swallow the words back down. How could she tell him? How could she say, "My son, I poisoned you. I meant to destroy your wife, but I destroyed you instead." 5 years had passed since that terrible evening. Little Maya was now 5 years old, attending primary school, bringing home drawings she made for Grandma Ego. It was a Tuesday market day. Mama Ego had forced herself to go, hoping the bustle of the market would distract her from her thoughts. She was bargaining for tomatoes when she heard a familiar voice behind her. Ogini herbs! Fresh Ogini herbs, cure for all sicknesses. Mama Ego turned slowly. Her blood ran cold. It was him, Dibia Okonkwo, the native doctor. Here in her village, their eyes met across the market crowd. Recognition flashed in his face. Ah, Mama Ego, he called out, smiling and walking toward her. It's been many years. How are you? Mama Ego grabbed his arm and pulled him away from the crowd into the space behind the market stall. What are you doing here? She hissed. Selling my herbs, he said calmly. But tell me, Mama, did that potion work well? Did your daughter-in-law suffer as you wanted? Tears burst from Mama Ego's eyes. It worked too well. My son ate it by mistake. Now he cannot have children. He's barren, my only son. She expected sympathy. She expected shock. Instead, Dibia Okonkwo threw back his head and laughed. What's funny? Mama Ego shouted. My son's life is destroyed and you're laughing? Mama Ego, the Dibia said, wiping tears of laughter from his eyes. You mean you didn't know? Know what? Mama Ego's heart was pounding. That potion I gave you, it only works on men. He laughed again. It was designed to make men infertile, not women. If your daughter-in-law had eaten it, nothing would have happened. It's completely harmless to women. The world stopped spinning. What did you say? Mama Ego whispered. The powder blocks a man's seed, not a woman's womb. That's how it works. The Dibia shook his head. If that girl had eaten the whole pot, she would have been fine. She could have had 10 children. But men, oh, even a small amount makes them permanently sterile. Mama Ego felt the ground tilt beneath her feet. So, if Kiera had eaten it... Nothing, absolutely nothing, the Dibia confirmed. You destroyed your son for nothing, Mama Ego. Your wickedness consumed your own child. Mama Ego's scream pierced the air. Then everything went black. When she woke up, half the village was gathered around her. Kiera was fanning her. Amadi was holding her hand. Mama, what happened? Amadi asked. The dam broke. 5 years of guilt came pouring out. I poisoned you, Mama Ego wailed. That evening 5 years ago, the soup you ate, I put juju in it. I meant it for Kiera. I wanted to make her barren, but you ate it instead. And now? The crowd gasped. Amadi dropped her hand like it burned him. You did this to me? His voice broke. My own mother? Kiera staggered backward, her hand over her mouth. I was jealous, Mama Ego sobbed. I thought she was too proud. I thought she had stolen you from me. I wanted to punish her, but I punished you instead. My son, my only son. The village women descended on her with words sharper than knives. Wicked woman, you destroyed your own child. Witch, you are a witch. Amadi stood up slowly. He looked at his mother, really looked at her, and she saw everything in his eyes. Betrayal, pain, disbelief. All these years, he said quietly, I suffered, Kiera suffered. We cried, we prayed, and you knew what you had done. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Mama Ego crawled toward him on her knees. It was Kiera who finally spoke. Mama Ego, she said, her voice steady despite her tears. I tried to love you. I tried to respect you. I did everything to please you. And this is what you wanted for me? Mama Ego had no answer. The village elders were called. Mama Ego was shamed publicly, but in the end, it was Amadi who made the final decision. I forgive you, Mama, he said after many days. Not because you deserve it, but because bitterness will not give me my future back. But things will never be the same between us. Today, Maya is 10 years old. She calls Mama Ego Grandma, but Mama Ego can barely look at her without crying. The village learned a lesson that day. The witch who digs a pit for others will be the first to fall into it. Mama Ego wanted to destroy her daughter-in-law's happiness, but destroyed her own son's future instead. The poison you prepare for another will be the poison you drink yourself. Asterisk, asterisk, moral. Asterisk, asterisk. Witchcraft and wickedness will consume you before it touches your target. The pit you dig for others is the pit you will fall into. What you sow with evil intentions, you will reap with bitter tears.